Hello, I am Deb Coviello, the Drop-In CEO. And as always, I'm grateful that you've joined me for another episode where week after week, I have the distinct pleasure of talking to you, sharing my insights with you, because I honestly want you to navigate your challenges, your opportunities with confidence. And honestly, I just don't want you to struggle as much. I did not have a strong support system, except for my husband, Dan, and God bless him. He had to listen to all of my challenges, but you can only rely on your significant other for so much. This podcast is really meant to be a support system for you. I want you to think about some of the insights that I'm sharing with you, and if it doesn't apply to you, is there somebody in your network that would really benefit from listening to one of these episodes? So that again, I just want to see you succeed, as my mentor Dave would say, and I say that from the bottom of my heart. And heart does have a theme this week. It's called heartstrings. I'm going to play with your heartstrings a little bit this week because, again, um, I want you to just focus on yourself a little bit. Just get comfortable because I am going to be sharing a bit of a story that I wrote and put out on LinkedIn, but I think it could definitely resonate with you as I talk about a little bit about reinventing myself. And, just to paint a picture a little bit, when I wrote this article, I put two pictures with it. One was a picture of me at about 4 or 5 years old, a little girl, sleeveless pink dress with lots and lots of curls and a big smile on my face. And then the picture to the right of it was a picture taken of me about 4 years ago. And I felt wonderful. I had a great photographer and I was smiling in both pictures. I was really just happy with life. And, I just want people to think about like when was the last time they smiled or they really, really were enjoying themselves, either enjoying life, their family, their community, or even celebrating at work. Because again, I know work is hard. I've worked pretty hard in my corporate career and I still work hard in serving my clients. But there's something to be said about who you are as a person and are you showing up as you should? And as I take you through my story here, and we'll talk a little bit at the end, I really want you to close your eyes if you can, if you're not driving, and just think about your own situation as I share a short story about myself. So, again, getting started here, some colleagues have asked, what was it like to reinvent yourself? So, for those of you who have known me, again, I've been a 5'2" female, kind of cute engineering kind of person who happened to be a leader in different industries. A lot of people have known me to be, very results oriented, very organized, etc. And then they see me after getting kicked out of the nest and being a business owner, being the drop-in CEO, and they keep saying to me, Deb, what was it like to reinvent yourself? They're just flabbergasted with the change that they have seen in me. And then I respond to them. I became the person I once was. So as a child, I was highly creative, a constant talker, and my mom thought that I would be going into journalism or acting. I mean, you really couldn't shut me up. The teachers would say to me, Deb is a really smart student. She's highly talented, but she tends to talk a little bit too much. Can you quiet her down? That's another story. But the truth was, I was highly expressive and had an infinite imagination. Now, fast forward, as I told you, the education system put me in a box and asked that I be quiet. And then the corporate structure encouraged staying within the lines. Oh, that hurt me so much when I had so many ideas and they said, Deb, we love your ideas, but just stay within the lines. I would get performance reviews that said I needed to be more creative. I was celebrated as an engineer having structured procedures and systems, but then they said, we need you to be more creative. And then guess what? They didn't give me a support system. They didn't give me any suggestions. You just need to be more creative. So I'm going to keep laughing throughout this. I would share my thoughts about new ideas for which they said, that was nice, but show me the results. So I start sharing my ideas. I'm starting to be creative. And then I'm squashed and said, that's nice, but show me the results. How many times has that happened to you? So, such is the conundrum of preserving my identity and also fitting in. Sound familiar? So I am pleased to say now I have returned to the creative I once was while still delivering value in a structured way in service to you and in service to my clients. And again, as I mentioned early in this episode, you'll notice, or I've shared with you the two pictures where I'm smiling because I'm so happy to be able to shine. As a child, I shine. I didn't know barriers. I just shined and shared my ideas and my imagination. And then the picture on the right, where I was in my business for a few years, I was shining. I was liberating. I feel fabulous. I was building a business, trying to connect with people I can serve, and I was smiling. So I'd ask you to look in the window and see if you're smiling. Think about the child you once were and what were your passions. I want you to think hard about that. What did you do? What games did you play? What bridges did you jump off? Did you break a limb, but you had a wonderful time, and you tell the story because you were just with your friends and just having a great time? And are you still living that childlike wonder in your life now? Now, we're all adults and we have responsibilities. There may be limitations for which we can't get out of the roles we're in. The work is hard. People are depending on us, an endless amount of to dos, shopping, baking for a community event, shuttling children here, taking care of, adults, that depend on us. But have you found that child? Have you found that child in yourself? And I'm actually going to get teared up a little bit because, when I was showing up early in my business career, I was showing up on LinkedIn and doing videos. I was very stiff and I was very, my face was very straight and non-expressive while I'm sharing my thoughts. And I realized that, I was doing stuff, but I wasn't finding a lot of joy and I wasn't having a lot of fun. Well, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, I'm smiling the whole time. My hands are all over the place. I'm moving around a little bit, though Liz needs me to stay centered on the mic so the audio is good. But I'm having fun. I mean, I am getting to talk as much as I had as a child. And again, it's a nice distraction that I don't have to be chewing my husband's ear off. You're going to hear a lot about Dan. He is a saint. He has had to listen to me talk about anything and everything. But I'm living like I was as a child. I'm talking to you, I'm sharing my ideas, my imagination. And I'm going to ask you the question, are you still living that childlike wonder in your life now? This is not going to be a long episode, but I want to pull at your heartstrings a little bit. If I connect with any of you out there and you get a little bit teared up, that's okay. That's your soul talking to you. And again, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to your soul because that's what we do as humans. We are connecting with humanity. And we need to feed our soul. We need to feed our minds. We need to feel good about who we are as a person because only then can we go out and do the technical work in business, whether you're a CEO or a vice president. You got to feel wonderful. You got to be that kid or be that creative or whatever you were, that athlete, whoever you were as a child. Maybe you're very spiritual. If that can come out into your everyday life, I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? So if you're not, I just want you to pause a little bit and think about it. And could you return to that and really, really, really enjoy the work that you're doing in service to others or to your community or, to customers or clients? Now, I do want to say this that I'm not a life coach, but I have passed through the dark forest and out into the light through my own corporate experience and entrepreneurial journey. I've lived some life and I've seen how coaching has also helped me to just help me to get back on track. And from my book, The CEO's Compass, Your Guide to Get Back on Track, there's a big component about our mindset and how we feel about ourselves. Because if we can fix that, we're unstoppable. We can solve any business issue, resolve any crisis, gain trust with our customers. But if we can't just fix ourselves a little bit and just experience a little bit of joy, know what it's like to be that child again and that creative and that person you once were. If any of you out there has cried a little bit because of what I'm saying, that's okay. It's okay because we are made of electricity, we are made of chemicals, and all of that is playing into how we feel. I share this with you because I think it's important that you recognize that sometimes we aren't our truest self on the job and we show up as somebody else. And, if we could return to the person we once were, maybe when you got out of college and entered the workforce, you had so many great ideas. Wouldn't that be a better place to be? And you do have choices to either stay where you're at or not change your situation or change your situation. And I just want you to think about if you need a support system, do it now before it's too late. I am the drop in CEO and I help with business transformation through crisis and opportunity. But along the way, I help C suite leaders such as yourself build new skills and enhance the outcomes that you're hoping to achieve. So I want to thank you for joining me on another episode of the podcast. But before we leave, I do want to leave you with a gift. I'd love for you to go to my website, dropinceo.com/gift. There's a few offers there that are completely free. There is chapter one of my book, The CEO's Compass, and it's going to speak to you. It's really strong, and maybe I'll bring it out right now. But it's also in audio format, so if you don't want to read and you just want to listen, there's a strong message there. But the other thing I want to share with you is that I have curated three of some of my favorite podcast episodes for you. Now, I know you can go out to Apple, Spotify, and listen to all 530 some odd podcast episodes. But sometimes it's nice when somebody invests a little bit of time to create some value for you. And there's a three pack of my podcast episodes you might want to check out. Again, that's my gift for you. But I do want to leave you with this thought because, again, thinking about what I talked to you about, pulling at your heartstrings, thinking about who you once were, um, I want to ask you a little bit about, and if you're off track. So, chapter one, I see you. I see you staring out the window, wondering how are you going to meet this challenge? You're thinking to yourself that you're smart, you're tough, and you've gotten through bigger challenges than this, but you find yourself unable to get past this obstacle. So there's more to the chapter. But if the obstacle is yourself, you can invest a little bit of time in yourself now. You need to put your mask on before putting the mask on others. So that's my wish for you. I want to be your support system. I want to be your compass. Reach out to my website. Go get that free gift for you, and I just want to help you. That's all I am here. I just want to be your support system. But with that, I just want to say thank you so much for dropping in on the podcast. And I just want to wish you well and continue success. Take care, and I'll see you on the next episode.